All right, guys. So over this Thanksgiving kind of holiday weekend, we've had some pretty good news come out from President Trump. He is pardoning General Micheal Flynn, who a lot of you guys believe is basically innocent and got a messed up deal from the government, right? So remember, General Flynn was President Trump's first national security advisor who pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russian officials. Now, just as a recap, in December 2017, General Flynn had formalized a deal with the special counsel, Robert Mueller, to plead guilty to a felony count of, quote, willing and knowingly making false statements to the FBI, and agreed to cooperate with the special counsel's investigation. Now, in January of 2020, this year, Flynn moved to withdraw that guilty plea, claiming government vindictiveness and a breach of the plea agreement, in which he's also saying that he did not knowingly lie. Now, the United States Justice Department announced that it intended to drop all charges against General Flynn on May 7th, but a federal district judge, Emmett Sullivan, ruled that the matter needed to be placed on hold. So President Trump, on Wednesday, November 25th, decided to issue General Flynn a presidential pardon. And in a statement from the White House, the press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, said that, quote, General Flynn should not require a pardon. He is an innocent man. And then President Trump came out and he tweeted, quote, it is my great honor to announce that General Micheal T. Flynn has been granted a full pardon. Congrats to General Flynn and his wonderful family. I know you will now have a truly fantastic Thanksgiving. President Trump tweeted that. Now, this is an interesting move from President Trump because this is something that presidents do typically when, they may be at the end of their term, in which they may decide to issue a whole bunch of pardons and things of that nature. The same thing that Obama did at the end of his term in 2016. Now, it remains to be seen exactly what will happen, but this could be something that President Trump is doing just in case the worst case scenario happens. But since he's doing this, Tulsi Gabbard has decided that she has two special requests for President Trump. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. But right before we get into this, guys, you guys know that I am currently fighting the war on flushable wipes. That's right, flushable wipes clog your pipe, and they could cost your local municipality millions of dollars per year in taxpayer money, or it could cost you thousands of dollars in plumbing bills if you currently use flushable wipes. My solution to this problem is simple. It is called Ashi. Ashi is a home system designed to create eco-friendlier flushable wipes just using toilet paper. It's very simple to set up. It's elegant, minimalistic design, will fit perfect in any bathroom. It makes the perfect Christmas/holiday present for anybody in your family or just friend or even for yourself. So if you're looking to upgrade your wipe or you just want an eco-friendlier alternative to flushable wipes, check out Ashi at ashihome.com. 10% of net proceeds will go to Toys for Tots. All right, let's get it. All right, guys. So Tulsi Gabbard has come out and requested that President Trump give two special pardons. And she's requesting that President Trump pardon whistleblower Edward Snowden and Julian Assange, in which she says, quote, they should be rewarded for exposing the deception and criminality of those in the deep state. Now, Tulsi Gabbard had tweeted this after it was announced that President Trump was pardoning Flynn, in which she quote tweeted a earlier message in which she had asked President Trump to go ahead and try to pardon Snowden and Julian Assange. Check it out in this prior video that she had.
Every single one of us as Americans are guaranteed basic fundamental rights and freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution. But we cannot take these freedoms for granted. I've introduced legislation to stand up for and to protect brave whistleblowers who've come forward to expose illegal actions within our own government or egregious abuses of power, and to reform the Espionage Act to make sure that if a whistleblower is prosecuted under the Espionage Act, that they will have their fair day in court, something that is currently not allowable under the law as it stands today. So first, I introduced HRES 1162 with my colleague, Congressman Matt Gaetz, that very simply calls on our government to drop all charges against Edward Snowden for the actions that he took in the public interest to expose a mass government surveillance program on all Americans that violates our privacy and civil liberties and that courts deemed illegal more than once. I also introduced HRES 1175 with my colleague, Congressman Tom Massey, which calls for the same action, for the government to drop all charges against Julian Assange, who also acted in the public interest as he published information to expose lies and egregious abuses of power in our own government. Last but not least, I introduced a bill, HR 8452, to reform the Espionage Act. Now, Daniel Ellsberg was the first person prosecuted under the 1917 Espionage Act for his act of bravery in releasing the Pentagon Papers to the Washington Post to publish classified documents that exposed the lies that were being told to the American people about what was really happening in the Vietnam War. Now, Snowden, Assange, and others are being prosecuted under this same Espionage Act. But as Daniel Ellsberg knows well, under current law, none of them are allowed to speak to the intent of their actions in court. My bill changes that. I'm urging my colleagues in Congress to stand up for the American people, to stand up for our freedoms, and pass this critical legislation now.
All right, guys, so just to make you guys familiar with Snowden and Assange, basically, they are two whistleblowers who are facing espionage charges stemming from separate cases in the United States. Now, Julian Assange charges are related to the WikiLeaks publication of secret American military documents that happened more than 10 years ago. Now, the charges carry a maximum of 175 years in prison. Julian Assange is also responsible for releasing hacked documents related to the DNC trying to screw over Bernie Sanders. He is the one that blew the whistle on that as well. Now, Julian Assange is currently locked up in London's Belmarsh prison, where he's currently being held until the British government decides whether or not they're going to extradite him back to the US in order to face the charges of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. Now, again, it remains to be seen whether or not the British government is actually going to do that. So that's kind of what's happening with him. Now, with Snowden, on the other hand, Snowden, if you guys remember, he blew the whistle on the NSA illegal spying of American citizens, which a lot of people see as unconstitutional and is technically an illegal search and seizure. So he had exposed that information about the U.S. government, and he is currently being held up in Russia in order to avoid prosecution, as federal charges are pending against him as well. Now, President Trump, back in August, had talked about potentially pardoning Snowden, in which he said he would look more into it. But Attorney General William Barr has basically said that he is vehemently opposed to it. So we really don't know exactly where President Trump stands on Snowden or Assange. But some people feel like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange are heroes. They feel like they expose the deep state and the corruption that the United States government actively participates in, not only in our country, but also around the world, right? That's how a lot of people feel about them. They feel that they are actually heroes for that. Now, a lot of people, more establishment types, feel that they're criminals, they're whistleblowers, and they are traitors to the United States for exposing these secrets that possibly could put U.S. citizens in harm's way. So there's two sides to the story. But I will say this. If President Trump truly is against the deep state, like a lot of people believe that he is, right? They believe that President Trump is actively trying to fight the deep state and that he's against the establishment, then it would make sense for him to go ahead and pardon Snowden and Julian Assange. In my opinion, that would be a consistent move from President Trump if that's what he's truly fighting against. Now, again, it remains to be seen how he really feels about it. But some people think it's a good idea. Some people think it must be done. Obviously, Representative Tulsi Gabbard thinks so. And some other representatives as well believe that they should be pardoned and that what they did was an act of patriotism. So, like I said, we will see. But it does bring up an interesting conversation in terms of what should President Trump do with his power to pardon, especially if he is, in fact, on the way out, which, again, remains to be seen. But it is one of those things that it seems that President Trump is currently planning for. So I think that personally what I would like to see him do is pardon Julian Assange and Snowden, because as a conservative, I do believe that we as people have the right to know if we're being spied on, and the massive government overreach that's been going on behind the scenes, because again, it's about the Constitution and it's about being protected from illegal searches and seizures. So I don't have a problem with it if he does do it. I think he should. But another thing I think he should do that's going to be good for him politically is to go ahead and just one up Obama in terms of pardoning nonviolent drug offenders. And this is not even a race thing. This is just straight up like fighting against the drug war here, which again, I feel like President Trump has got a lot of people on board with that. Now, President Obama at the end of his second term had used his executive power to grant clemency to 1,927 individuals, 1,715 of which were commutations and 212 of which were pardons. Now, most individuals that receive executive clemency from Obama had been convicted of drug charges and had received lengthy and sometimes mandatory sentences at the height of the drug war. I think President Trump should one-up President Obama on this. And the reason why is because it's going to look good in a worst-case scenario for you to release more nonviolent drug offenders, which is going to help build on President Trump's record on criminal justice reform, which, if he happens to lose, he could come back in 2024 and tout that as a part of his record to help continue to build on his momentum that he had gathered during his first term as presidency in terms of his reputation in regards to criminal justice reform. From a strategic standpoint, I think that is a good idea. And I think that he needs to do that not just based on racial lines. It's not about black people. It's about fighting the drug war. It's about doing the right thing. President Trump should do the right thing. And again, like I said, the right thing just happens to also be the politically expedient thing to do, just in case the worst case scenario happens and President Trump ends up having to run in 2024. So that's my opinion on that. I think that would be a great move for him to do. If he's going to go on this street of giving out executive pardons, I think he should strongly consider that move on top of pardoning Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. But, you know, honestly, if President Trump wants to get revenge on the establishment, him pardoning those two would be a nice second or third step. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Edward Snowden and Julian Assange should be pardoned by the president? Let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.